Hello and welcome to this iMeshh tutorial, and today we'll be making just a simple chair. But before we jump in, here is iMeshh, and if you didn't already know, we are a 0% commission marketplace, so you can sell things for free and we don't take any commission or fees. If you wanted to sell more than 10 products or use more than 2 gigabytes of space, we do charge a very small fee, equivalent to about $1 per month. And yeah, basically we just want to make a really fair marketplace where people can sell and not be burdened with up to 60% fees like I have seen on other websites. And yep, second thing, if you're looking for some models and you want some super cheap models, then we have just released a new bundle pack, which is our cheapest ever pack ever. And basically in this pack you'll get 80 tokens and you can then spend them freely in the token store. And I think it works out at about 98% discount, and we kind of just want to keep people inside during this crisis. So yeah, grab this pack and download whatever you want, and hopefully it'll give you more reasons to stay inside. So today we're going to make a quick little chair. So first things I'm going to do is just delete these. So you can of course design a chair which you want to make yourself, and to do that you would probably make some plans. You'd probably make left, front, back and sides and top, and then you'll work with those to create the 3D model, or you'll just do it freehand in 3D. So just for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to grab this one and I'm going to use this as a guide. Okay, and then we're going to go to Blender and press Shift A and go down to Image and click Reference, and I'm going to add that in. Okay, that didn't go straight. Delete that and press Shift A again and go to Image and Reference. I'm going to click this again and untick Align to View and click Load Reference. There we go. And I want to make this go this way, so I'm going to do R and X and rotate it 90 degrees. Then I'm going to press 1 to go front view, and now we have some plans that we can work with. So I'm going to work with this shape for now, and then I'm going to move to the front. So what I usually do is just shift and right click where you want to start and press Shift A and click and add a plane. I'm going to make this smaller. What I'm going to first do is go into edit mode with tab and do Control R and split this in half. If I go into local view with the oopsie daisy number pad, and you see I've got a line there, and then I'm just going to delete these two. Right, and then I'm going to go to the modifier and add a mirror and make sure that it comes out the other side, and turn off this one. So now whatever I do to this side, it will do to the other side, and chairs are symmetrical usually, so we'll keep it going like this. So let's go back to 1, and then let's just press E and just follow this shape. I'm actually just going to go straight up here because this is probably where the center of the chair is going to be, and then we'll pull this edging bit out a bit later. And this one is going to go here. Okay, perfect. Now what I want to do is I'm actually going to click on this and press Shift D, and I'm just going to click and type RZ, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Then I'm going to go press 3, and now I'm just going to actually bring this over here, and I'm just going to align this over here like so. Now if we grab our shape, we can now move this into the correct shape. I'm just going to give it some extra shape, and then I'm going to move these into place now. If you want to slide these along the vertex, you'd just press G twice. And have my screencast keys just stopped? Oh no, it's just behind, it's just white. There we go. And I want to try to make sure that these vertices are kind of evenly spread quite nicely. And actually see how this is going. If I go to subdivision surface, then we can see how the kind of shape is going to form a bit later. So we can have now something a bit easier to work with. So I also can see that we need something on the top, so let's just Shift D this, rotate this 90 degrees, and rotate this on the y-axis and minus 90 degrees, and then let's move this over the shape. Go down. Okay, now we have another shape to follow. Okay, actually, this probably needs to be about here. Okay. I'm actually going to turn on proportional editing here, and I don't want to edit this piece, so I'm just going to select all this and press H to hide it. And now if I do proportional editing, it won't change those bits. So I'm going to press O, turn on proportional editing, and now whatever I move, it will move proportionally. I'm also going to turn on clipping, so that the vertices won't go past the mirroring point. Okay, so we're starting to get a nice chair shape now, and I think that this piece also is meant to go up, so I'm just going to go back to this view and bring this down, maybe these pieces. And grab this edge piece and lift this up. Let's go into local so I can see what's going on. I'm going to right click and click shade smooth, and this to me seems like it might be a little bit uncomfortable, so I'm just going to bring this piece down a little bit more. Okay, and I'm just going to press Alt H and now see what the rest of the shape's doing. So just check. Because I turned on this clipping mode later, I'm just going to try to move this around just to make sure that it is merging how it should. Okay, so I think that's perfect now. I'm going to turn off this subdivision surface, and I'm going to add a solidify. Solidify, and I'm going to press Shift A and click Apply Scale. And I'm going to move this subdivision below the solidify, and now I'm going to press this just to see it. Okay, but we actually want to make this not so sharp. So before this subdivision, I'm actually going to add a bevel as well. So let's move the bevel above the subdivision. There we go. And now if I just add a couple more segments and also click on angle and make sure that the angle is quite high, let's say 80, because we only want the angle to be affected at a place where it's almost 90 degrees. And the only place where that should happen on this chair is right at a corner. So now if I lower this offset, something quite low, 0.002, there we go. And now if I add another subdivision thing, I'm also going to turn this quality down a little bit because I find that kind of slows everything down. Okay, that is nice. I'm actually going to turn up for the render. I'm actually going to probably go to 3, but for the viewport we could probably leave it at 2, so that when it renders it's still going to be a bit more of a smoother shape. So there's a bit problematic over here. You can kind of see that this shape is being a bit funny along here. So I'm actually going to go to the solidify and click even thickness. Okay, that didn't fix anything, so I'm just going to actually edit this vertex anyway and just try to make this edge a bit smoother. Ah, there we go. So now it pops into place. I think that this edge was a bit too sharp, so there we go. Okay, nice. And I'm actually going to smooth this bit down a little bit. So there we go. I'm going to move this up a bit. I kind of want to make this form follow a really nice curve, and there's no kind of bits which poke out. Right. Okay, nice. I think that's the base chair done. So now I'm going to go to the legs. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's not exact, because I think that these plans are actually a little bit different depending on which way you're looking at them. So yeah, let's move to the legs. So let's just move this up so we can see what's going on down there. So I think that each leg is going into the center and then going into a little box and being held here. Okay. So I'm just going to move this out of the way here, and then I'm going to add I'm going to press Shift S and cursor to selected so that it centers to the chair, and then I'm going to do Shift A and add a curve and a Bezier curve. Right, now if I go into edit mode and select everything and move it away, the origin will still stay here, but if I move the object when I'm not in edit mode, then the origin will also move. But we want to keep the origin at the center of the chair so that we can also add a mirror here as well to the Y. So now if we add a leg here and change it, then it will also change this leg too. So first thing we do is rotate everything. Oh god, I'm still learning the Blender 2.8. Select everything. Okay, there we go. And rotate this 90 degrees. I'm going to go to the side view and just move it all into place. I'm just going to scale it down. And there we go. This is quite hard to see, so I'm going to turn the opacity down on this one so I can actually see my curves. And the same for these ones too. Okay. Right. Now go to this one, and I'm just going to grab this. This is the end piece, so I'm just going to scale this down. And this is going to be quite a straight line, so let's just move this up. And there are many different ways of making pipes, and so you could use a cylinder and extrude it and then curve. But I kind of find this to work for me, and I can kind of freely edit. So, yeah, there we go. So let's just move this down here, and I want to try to make this curve. So it kind of goes out and then in again. So let's just. Okay, and these kind of lines are kind of getting in the way, so I don't really want to see them. So I'm just going to go onto the overlays and click this arrow and click on normals and turn them off because they're kind of not really important right now. And this edge I want to be a bit tighter, so I'm going to move this closer and then add a final one here. Right, now to make it a bit easier to see and to give it some geometry, go to here and click geometry and just scale this up. Oh, sorry, the bevel. There we go. I'm holding down Shift so it's a bit slower because it's a bit easier to handle then. I'm going to press 1 again to just check the thickness. Yeah, that should be fine. And there we go. And now I'm going to move this over, oopsie, in edit mode. I'm going to rotate this 45 degrees and push this here. Okay, nice. I'm going to move this down just to see how this will kind of fit against the curve, so just move this down a bit further. I think that actually this should be a bit further in, so it's underneath the actual chair. Okay. And of course I can move this out a little bit more if I want to. Okie dokie. Now I'm just going to press 1 and press A to select everything and press Shift D and move it on the X axis. Then I'm going to go to the top view and press R and rotate it 90 degrees. There we go. And these obviously need to be changed a little bit more, so let's move this down. I can press O to do proportional editing so I can kind of edit the whole shape. I think this curve is going a bit too crazy here, so I'm just going to actually edit this a bit more. And this is kind of why I like using curves, because you can really adjust them as you go. I still think this is a bit too mad, so I'm just going to go to this in the top view. I'm going to move this in a little bit more. And I'm going to press Shift S, sorry, just S, and move this one in, and also this one. This curve is a bit too mad. Okay, I think that should be fine for now. You can keep playing with this and make it fit your needs a bit better if you want to. So I want to make sure that these both are the same height. So I'm going to grab this one and press Shift Tab and make sure I've set this to vertex, and then I'm going to press G and Z and make sure that it sticks to this point here. So if I move the mouse over there, it sticks. And then grab both and move them down. And then I'm going to move this over. I want to make sure this line is quite smooth. There we go. Okay, next thing I want to do is try to make this box thing in the middle. These actually look like they go a bit further in. So let's just move these in a bit closer to the middle. Whoops. Turn off this thing here with Shift Tab. and move these in straight. And this line has actually gone off funny, so let's move this back. Okay. I'm going to do Shift S and cursor to selected, and now add a... Okay, and that recording just stopped for some reason, and I just lost where I was up to, so I'm just going to get back to where I was. But first thing I remember is I actually just need to... Oh, okay, so I've even unwrapped this at this point. Okay, what I'll do... I'll say what I did here. So basically I applied the bevel and the solidify, and then I grabbed a seam, so Alt and click on the edge loop, and it selects the edge loop, and then press F3 and click mark seam. And then all you need to do is select the whole mesh and to press U and do unwrap, and then it will unwrap the mesh for you. Okay, and one thing I also noticed is that these sides also curve inwards, which I forgot to do at this point. So I'm going to get both of those and press O and move them on this axis. Move the proportional editing in a bit more and do it like that. So now we have a nice curve here too. And let's maybe pull these ones out a bit more. Okay, and let's actually grab these and push these like this. Okay, there's a funny one in the middle there. Let's bring these in. Okay, I don't like how that's not very straight, so I'm going to bring these vertices over. Move these over like this, and grab this one and this one. And at this point I should actually, while I'm working on this, remirror it. So I'm just going to delete this and add a mirror and move it to the top. And it's at Y. And now I can edit this one, so let's bring these in like this. Hopefully that'll make a bit of a nicer curve. Okay, and then bring this one. Okay. Okay, I think that should be fine for now. You can kind of see what I'm doing. So now I've moved it a little bit. I'm just going to unwrap it again. Oh, first apply the mirror and then add it. And using the iMeshh Asset Manager, I've actually just applied a material. This may not work for you, and we will get to this, so we will fix it. But for Blender 2.82 and 2.81, we just haven't got around to fixing it. If anyone likes coding and wants to give it a shot, then feel free. But we're trying to concentrate on making the marketplace work as efficiently as possible at the moment, so this is kind of taking a back seat. But yeah, so in the Asset Manager, I'm just going to apply this material to it. Okay, so now I'll go back to where I was in the tutorial, which was actually making the little square box underneath. So with this object selected, I'm going to do Shift S and do cursor to selected, and then add a cube. And now let's scale this down, and there we go. And I'm going to bring this down, turn off proportional editing, and just make this go roughly like this, and same for this side here. Okay, so this is going to be a little box that they go into, and I'm going to go into local mode and add an edge with Control R, and delete this one, and add a mirror, and set it to Y. And now I'm going to delete the oopsie-daisy, the top face. Okay, now I'm actually going to grab this one as well and go into local mode, because what I want to do now is make this edge smoother and then add a hole, which is actually a little bit complicated, but hopefully you can follow along. So I want to grab this edge and this edge, and I want to do, there we go, and do Control B, and let's just add one edge like this. Okay, I want to go to top view and make sure that this cylinder is going directly into the middle of this piece, which is correct, so that's fine. Okay, next thing I want to do is add another edge loop here, and actually do Control B and make sure that this cylinder is in the middle. Then I want to grab this bottom face and press I for inset. Now because I have the mirror modifier selected, you have to make sure that this is unticked, otherwise you end up with this kind of inset, which you don't want. You want it to be a continuous edge. So if I press this one, there we go. And cool, let's actually add another, grab this one, do Control B, just add like this. And now I can add a subdivision surface. Actually, let's add another edge loop here, another one here. Go add a couple more. A couple of supports. Okay, a shade smooth. And okay, cool. So if I want to add, okay, actually I'm going to add another couple of edge loops just here. Set that like this, and you can use the middle mouse wheel to add extra loops when you're doing that. I'm going to do them separately. Actually, I'm going to do this one, so it's actually encompasses the whole of this, and do this one as well. It's a little bit different this side. Okay. Okay, nice. Now, if you go to Edit and Preferences, and click Loop Tools, make sure that's enabled. Then if you go to Edit and click oopsie, let's just select these faces. You can make this go into a circle, but the problem is that it deforms the mesh as well. You can't, but obviously you want this to be a circle but on a curve, which is the quite difficult part. And this is a technique which I use, and that is to duplicate this piece and then turn off subdivision surface, and then click shrink wrap, and then click on the original mesh. This is the original mesh, and to make it, and because the new mesh is now shrink wrapping onto this one, you can just press H and hide that one, because you don't need to see it right now. Okay, now if I press this circle, it will make the circle, but it will still continue to try to follow the original mesh. But I think it needs a bit more geometry, so, and try to make this a bit straight. Okay, and then I'm going to press I, add another inset. Okay, and you can see it trying to conform to the correct shape. And I want this line to be completely flat. This is kind of be a supporting line. You kind of see where it has some bad shading by this line. So grab this whole one and click flatten, and then bring this down with GG. There we go. And now we have some circles. So what we can do now is do it to this one too. So let's grab this face and press circle. Maybe scale it down and then press I. Okay, I think that's looking quite nice. Let's add a subdivision to see what it's going to look like. They might need to add an actual edge here. We could do that afterwards actually. Let's leave that like that. Okay, and now what I want to do is apply the mirror and apply the shrink wrap. Actually, let's just delete this side again. Let's just keep it deleted for now. We can add what we need to later. Okay, now we can select these. We've got all four selected. Yep. Okay, then press I and inset that like this. Just a little bit, and then add another one. And what that does is it adds a supporting line just here at the edge of this circle, which is what you want. And I'm actually going to go into this line and move this over. But what I have actually done with this curve, which I missed when I deleted the recording, is actually added a subdivision surface to this curve. So now it's less jaggedy, which makes it a bit easier to see what's going on. Okay. And I think I'm actually going to make this hole a little bit bigger, so I'm going to grab this edge loop and press Control plus and Control plus again. Now I can scale this up just a little bit, make sure it's there like this. And I can see that this curve is overlapping here, so let's grab this and move it into the center of this circle. Okay, nice. Now that's all you kind of really want. You kind of just want to see that it is going in, and it can kind of be as tight as it likes when it goes inside like that. Okay, and I want to do the same for this side, so let's grab these and press E and just a little bit, and then E again, and then press X and delete that face. And let's see if we can make this in the center, which I think it almost is, so let's just move it here like that. And then of course we can also add another subdivision here to make it a bit smoother, and looks like there's an overlapping face here. Let's grab the whole thing and do remove double. Okay, merge by distance. Oh yeah, it removed some. Okay, and then what I want to do is add a mirror and make sure it's at the top and set to Y, and you can turn on clipping. Okay, cool, so that's that. Then what I want to do is do E and S and just move this over a little bit and just make sure it's a little bit smooth on top. And I want to add another edge loop at the top, but I'm going to click flatten again and move it up. Okay, that should be fine. So now make sure it's not coming out the top. And now there's a place for the legs to go inside. Okay, and now I want to add a couple of supports underneath. From the plans I couldn't actually see how they attach to this base, but I'm going to guess that they are screws. So first I'm just going to make what I think the shape is going to be like here. So I'm going to add a cylinder. Okay, I'm just going to move this up and scale this down and rotate this like so, and delete these vertexes. Okay, then I'm going to press this and press E and S and Y. Oh, make sure this is set to medium point and scale it on the X. Okay, now I can add a subdivision surface, maybe one more, and I'm going to add an edge loop here and scale these on the X to make it a bit rounder. Add another point here and a point here. Grab these two and do Control Shift and B, and you can then click and make them circles. Okay, then I'm going to add a solidify, apply the scale, and move like this, and then you can press X and faces. There we go. So now I need to try and figure out how this is going to attach to these pieces. So in edit mode, grab the whole thing and move it over, and we could do that trick of mirroring again and set it to Y. Okay, and then we can try to make this fit. So let's move this down. Okay, just move it over. I'm going to select this and this into Control plus, and then move this up. Ooh, okay, that's really high. Okay, I don't think it's going to go there. Okay, let's move this over maybe a bit further. And move this down. Okay, that should be fine. We don't really know how this is going to work, so let me just work on this side first. So let's bring this down and see if we can make this fit here. Just using R to rotate it to make it fit. Nice, and now I do the same for this one. I do right click and click shade smooth, and we'll want to add a little bit of a bevel. Apply the scale and set it to angle and set it to 85. Okay, and then give it one more. Okay, now what I want to do is go into the shape and click Shift and right click and do Shift A and add a... Okay, I don't have that selected. Let's go to Edit Preferences and type in Bolt Factory and press Shift A and add a bolt. Now it's a huge bolt, so we can make this a bit smaller. Okay, I can't see past the screencast keys. Okay, so we can make this a... Let's make it this... Oh no, sorry, a bolt, and make this one a Phillips, and we can set this to a dome. I think that looked quite nice. And yeah, we don't actually need any of these screws, so let's just grab this and do Control plus all the way until we have as much as we need, not too much, and do X and faces. Then we can just scale this right down, move this into place. Okay, I've just realised I just deleted this piece here, so let's just make sure we deselect this. Okay. If you press the number pad full stop, you will go straight to the object you have selected. I'm going to RX and rotate this 180 degrees. Okay, I realise you can't see this anymore, so let's turn this up. Ah, has it removed the modifiers? Okay, I'm going to do Control L and then do P and selection, and then go back to this object and add solidify and bevel and then subdivision surface. Ah, okay. Add a couple of edge loops here so it doesn't look gross. Even thickness on here. Okay, and set this to 85. And maybe turn this down. Okay, that should be fine. Now let's concentrate on this one. Let's get it down. We didn't really need to make that hole in that piece, I guess, because it's now going to be covered by a bolt, but at least you know how to make a quick hole. And the thing is that this is now going to be right underneath the object, which you're not really going to see, so making this smoother is not entirely necessary, but if you want to make it smoother, you obviously can. Okay, now let's Shift D and move this over, and add one here. Okay. And these are no longer mirroring. I think it must have removed that modifier. Unless I did something that I missed. Oh no! Shift S cursor to selected and select the object and click object and set origin to 3D cursor. Okay, and click the bolt and then click this one, do Control L and copy the modifiers. But I'm guessing the origin. Whoa! Okay, we don't need these. We just want the mirror. And the origin point is also in the wrong place, so set origin to 3D cursor. Okay, now go press Control and 7 to go underneath, and press Shift D and move this over here. Okay. Now I want to move these points down. And rotate them. Okay, let's concentrate on this piece first. And GZ. Okay, and now let's do the same for these. Let's move this one over actually, because it's not quite over the hole. And let's move this one over. And bring them down. Oh. And having nice little details like this will definitely help with realism, and because they don't take that much longer, but it's kind of, you have the main shape, which is the main big detail, and then you have smaller details, and then you have even smaller details, and they're the kind of things which really help to sell your models. So let's do that. Okay, and I think that's that. Okay, now we can add some feet actually. So one thing we can do is, if this piece is how you want it to be, then you can press Shift D and move it on the axis to, I kind of do that just to save it, you don't need it, but that is now a curve. Before I press this and do convert to mesh, which is, mesh, which is, okay, sorry, let me go back. Make sure that you don't have subdivision turned on just yet, because you can reapply it. But yes, this is quite destructive, turn this to mesh. But now you have the original shape still there if you need it, and we'll just hide that. Okay, now let's go to here and get both of these feet. It's still we applied the mirror, didn't we? So let's delete this and add a mirror. Okay, and let's grab the feet again. And I want to press S, Z and 0 to make sure it's on the Z axis, and then we can do Shift D, so it's a different object, and make sure that this is set to individual origin, and E and S. And then E and Z, and E and S, and then F. And I want to grab these two loops with edge select. Actually, this will be S and Shift Z without proportional editing. Okay, then do Control B, give it a bit of shape, and then we can add a subdivision surface and shade smooth. Now we have some feet, which look a bit funny actually from this side, so I'm going to undo the bevel until we get this shape correct. Okay, I didn't even have the back one selected either, so let's make these a bit smaller. Okay. And then I want to grab this one and move them over. Okay. To make sure they kind of still follow the shape of the actual object. Okay, I think that's a bit better. Okay, and we can now grab these, do Control B, some edges, and then again shade smooth and subdivision surface. Okay, cool. Now we can just do some quick texturing. So I have the iMeshh Asset Manager, and we also have this default material pack. Again, I'm really sorry if this doesn't work for you right now in Blender 2.8. But first, we're going to grab this legs, and so the feet will have one material. Because I'm using this asset manager, all we need to do is add some materials that we want. So the feet, let's say, are going to be rubber. So let's import material, and the legs are going to be, let's say, chrome. Okay, and then import material. So we want to go into here and click the legs. Select this and do Control L, and then go to the material you want and click Assign Selected. Okay, I'm going to be guessing that these and these, okay, there's a mistake. Okay, it's not connected, but we can fix that some other time. And then, well, that one's really funny. Never mind. And we'll just apply air material to those two, and do Control L and copy material. And this one can be same material, and this one is a wood. So now if we just go to the World tab and add a new environment texture, and then we'll do Shift Z and click Rendered. If you're in Eevee, just make sure you have ambient occlusion turned on and screen space reflections just for some quick previewing. Okay, cool. And let's just do Shift and right click and add a plane at the feet. And there we go. We have an object. This one actually doesn't have chrome, so do Control L and add a material to that one too. Okay, this has rubber. When I do renders for my objects, I usually add a camera and make sure that camera has a focal length of sort of field of view of something quite low. So let's do 30 for now, and go into that. Maybe something even lower. And set this to square. Because I quite like the orthographic feel of a low focal length compared to one that has higher, like a perspective. It kind of removes the perspective. Okay, so that's the object, and yeah, actually, if we go to under here, we can actually see where we made the connecting point for the circle, and it looks quite good. Even the material actually looks quite nice and navy. And that's quite a basic chair tutorial. Hopefully, I've covered some nice techniques for you, and yeah, hopefully I'll do some more videos because I really enjoy this, and I really don't do them enough. And we've just hit 1,000 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, talk to you soon. Bye.